Topic 11, new trade theory mostly are based on Krugman increasing return and economic geography perspective. An overview, new trade theory, sometimes they know as NTP for the short form, is a newer perspective in international trade theory, which focus on the role of economies of scale, differentiated product, and transport costs. Most trade theory like absolute advantage, comparative advantage, they usually assume a perfect competition, and constant return to scale, and then they don't emphasize on differentiated product. They emphasize that all are commodity and tradable product. That's why sometimes people criticize that if there is a product that is not replaceable or highly inelastic. So what happened to the trade theory? What happened to absolute advantage and comparative advantage? Some other theory that relating to trade like Marshall linear condition, they also neglected that this few aspect of economic scale, differentiated product, and transport cost. Right? Of course, later on, transport cost is used by Krugman as a proxy for geography distance. Okay. Paul Krugman won a Nobel Prize in economics based on his contribution on this entity of new trade theory. He incorporated economic geography and industrial organization to change the traditional or old trade theory assumption. Talk about economic geography, that means, of course, you talk about distance. Distance, that means transportation cost to use. Distance is very quite hard to measure, but sometimes transportation cost is more easy to data availability. So you use transportation cost to measure distance, so geography aspect. When you talk about industrial organization, you usually talk about non-perfect competition, right? Therefore, that's why OT theory assumption like constant return to scale, perfect combination is being changed in the new trade theory, and he won a Nobel Prize because of this one. Okay? And economic geography actually refer to the study of the or incorporate the factor of location or factor of production. Location or factor of production in space is important. Women use transport cost to reflect the role of distance in the international trade model. In industrial organization, women replace classic assumption to consider trade under imperfect market. So mean differentiation under monopolistic or economy of scale. You will notice the Paul Krugman writing, right? Increasing return and economic geography. This journal you can find it on internet, right? The abstract of the Krugman paper summarizes his thought on NTT. So what is the abstract? This paper developed a simple model that shows how a country can endogenously become differentiated into an industrial core like agriculture peripheral. That means we see from a perspective of manufacturing or industrialization as the main core, and then agriculture as a sub, right? That or peripheral to support the industrialization. In order to realize scale economics while minimizing transport costs, manufacturing firms tend to locate in the region with larger demand, but the location of demand itself depends on the distribution of manufacturing. Emergence of a core peripheral pattern depends on the transportation cost, economy of scale, and share of manufacturing in national income. Share of manufacturing in the national income actually can reflect how the nation is how well the nation industrialized, right? If let's say share manufacturing in the national income is just 10%, I mean mostly 90% is agriculture. Okay. Put on base for regional divergence. Key question of location will be why and when does manufacturing become concentrated in a few regions, leaving other relatively undeveloped? And even within a country like Malaysia, we notice that manufacturing are more concentrated on the west side, coastal side of Peninsular Malaysia, but less on the eastern side of Peninsular Malaysia. For example, more on the Penang, KL, Malacca, right, Johor, but less will be on Terengganu, Kelantan, and the east coastal part of the Pahang. Okay. So why? This consideration of manufacturing in one location depend on a few key parameters. What are the nature of externality that lead to the localization of the industry? Okay. For Alfred Marshall, right, neoclassic, 3 reasons for localization. Why they want to localization there? First, concentration of several firms in a single location offer a pool of market for worker. I mean, you attract worker to come in, right? Then with industrial specific skill and ensuring both a lower probability of unemployment. Sometimes you see in KL now got some that a lot of bank located there, and you go to Bangi, Klang, and I think Rawang. So there are a lot of manufacturing located there. So specific skill to ensuring there's a pool of worker there. Second, localized industry can support the production of a non-tradable specialized food. For example, if you have a tire firm, right, then you actually support a non-tradable, maybe rubber or any other things like that. That means the second one means spill over. Third, also informational spillover can give clustered firm a better production function than isolated producer. So if all the same industry, same specific industry cluster together or just nearby each other, so any information spillover is easier than someone produce at a very far away. For example, all the, let's say, furniture manufacturing located in one area, but one located few hundred kilometers away. So if any price movement or any supply and demand shock related to the wood or agriculture may be easier to share, or new technology will easier to share by this cluster of firms that located together rather than the isolated one. But different question or approach. Why manufacturing in general might end up concentrated in one or few regions of a country instead of just location, with the remaining region playing the peripheral role of agriculture supply to the manufacturing core. So people see this one or divided this one into two. Then what is the core, the main, which is the industry. Then the others actually just a supporting role. For recruitment, the externality that sometimes lead to emergence of a core periphery pattern are pecuniary externality associated with either demand or supply linkage rather than purely technology spillover. So for neoclassic, it will be because of technology spillover will be higher if you cluster together rather than isolated. But for recruitment, it will be a supply and demand factor. In the presence of imperfect competition, the increasing return to scale pecuniary externality matter. To understand that this externality, assume a country in which there are two kinds of production, agriculture and manufacturing. Wait, so this is a mind map or a summary of this one. Later on you see. Okay. Demand for manufacturing goods for equipment actually will help to determine where the manufacturing actually clustered, right? So when they cluster together, then they have an increasing return to scale, right? But for classic school, it will depend on the agriculture, constant return, and then location of the manufacturing. This on determined by the external distribution of the suitable land. So for classic school, you depend on where you got suitable land, especially on agriculture. Right? But for equipment, they are more based on the demand for the manufacturing product. If you analyze the practical side of this one, you notice sometimes or 10 years ago, too many people want to locate their manufacturing in China until Donald Trump also want to taken some measure, want to take back the US producer that have a factory in China. Why? Because China is so big, and then the demand in China alone is already more than enough, right, to supply for the to demand for the output from this manufacturing. So therefore, demand for manufacturing good actually is a factor that affect the clustering of the manufacturing. Right? Then in this case, when you center a limited number of sites related large nearby demand, so you actually minimize transportation cost. For example, if let's say a firm supplies something industrial product, right? They're located in Malaysia, but the demand is in China or Japan or Korea, right? So they need to manufacture in Malaysia and then ship to China, ship to Korea and Japan. It will be better that if the firm located in China and then from China ship to Japan and Korea, distance is nearer and easier, so it actually minimize transportation cost as well. Right? So there are circular causation or positive feedback where manufacturer production will tend to concentrate where there is a large market, but the market will be large when manufacturing production is concentrated. So production concentrated on one place where you got a lot of demand, but then when you concentrate it there, then this market will become larger. So it's like reinforcement, right, of each other, circular causation or positive feedback. Right? There are further questions on this perspective. First, how far will the tendency toward geographical concentration proceed? Where will manufacturing production actually end up? Okay. Answer for the one, it depends on underlying parameter of the economy. The circularity method is manufacturing employ a large fraction of the population and hence generate larger fraction of demand, strong economy of scale, low transportation cost to agriculture sector. Okay, finish it. Once this concentration cross a critical threshold, population will start to concentrate and region diverse. Once started, this process will feed on itself. Feed on itself. Mean what? The security method in manufacturing employ a large fraction of population. For example, you need a lot of people to work, so you have a high job creation. Then you employ a lot of people, then these people being paid, so they actually has a purchasing power, and then they provide you with demand. So large demand. Therefore, you have a strong economic scale. When you get bigger and bigger and bigger, your manufacturing factory get more and more, so you enjoy actually economic scale, which is different from a neoclassic, which actually assume that it's always a constant return to scale. And as mentioned just now, in each large population, for example, let's say one big factory, the worker all stay nearby and more and more populated in the area. So this worker actually demand or you supply the product, the worker is nearby. So transportation cost is actually very low. Right? So in this case, it's actually then they reinforce each other. So they will attract more people to more people. That's why you see some town like Kuala Lumpur from long time ago, they keep on growing and growing and growing and growing. Some rural town, right? They didn't grow that much. They just stagnant there forever. Like kampong, those come from kampong, just stagnant there forever. They didn't go anything. So therefore, it feed itself or for positive feedback. Question 2, where will manufacturing production actually end up? In an economy characterized by high transportation costs, a more small share of food loose manufacturing or weak economy of scale, the distribution of the manufacturing production will determine by the distribution of the primary spectrum of peasant. So depend on the peasant. With lower transportation costs, a higher manufacturing share or stronger economy of scale, circular causation set in. Again, circular causation and manufacturing will concentrate on whichever region get a head start. So I would say if you have a, let's say just have a factory, right? Quite a big size factory. They set in employ a lot of labor for this. Let's say electronic, TV, radio, microwave, this factory. So yes, when you have a lot of labor, you sell back to the labor or the nearby town also a lot of labor. Let's say you have a factory in nearby Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur is highly concentrated with population, so you can sell back to people in Kuala Lumpur. So you have economy of scale, you can provide a lot low transportation costs. And then in this case, you will keep on enlarging and attract more and more workers. So KL city will become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger compared to a kampong where you don't have the opportunity, nothing grow. Even to buy things, you have to import from quite a distance. You have to pay for high transportation costs that make it less competitive. right? And any manufacturing set up in a kampong to cater for such a few person can only produce a low quantity of output. In this case, didn't get a economy of scale. Right? Economy of scale is when you produce in a large quantity. Right? So therefore, which region that get a head start, they will continue to develop much faster than the rest. Right? This finding require no appeal to elusive concepts such as good energy externality. So until now, until explanation until now, they don't mention any technology sector, right? But all this while in classic school, we say foreign direct investment depend on technology transfer, all these things, right? Just mostly why manufacturing concentrated and grow together with the population and the city or the area around them is because of the concentration of demand, concentration of population, and they positively feedback each other, circular causation. External economy are inequality arising from a desirable or selling to and buying from a region in which other producers are concentrated. It also involves no arbitrary assumption about the geographical extent of external economy. Distance enter a natural via transportation cost and in no other way. So here they use transportation cost as a proxy for distance. If you buy from Lazada, Shopee, all these things like GrabFood, the distance actually reflect in your fees paid to the rider or transportation cost, right? If you order something GrabFood from quite far away, you pay maybe 6 ringgit, 8 ringgit for transportation cost. Or you order something from just nearby, you may pay 3 ringgit. You order a Grab car, go to further place, you pay 60 ringgit, 20 ringgit. If you just go nearby, you may pay lower. So in this case, transportation cost actually is a good proxy for distance. Right? The interesting dynamic arises from interaction effect. Manufacturing firm choose to stay or move to which region based on transportation cost, site or the economy of scale, then and the share of the manufacturing in the expenditure. So here, as I mentioned, like why so many US firms want to locate in China? Because if you produce back at the United States, of course, if you discounted the labor cost difference, if you in the economic United States, you want to sell to China market, you have to go through shipping, transportation so far. Then in this case, why not better just produce in China and sell in transportation cost will be much lower because of distance is there. Or you want to sell to Japan or Korea, it's better to produce in China, right? And then ship to there. Or better produce in Malaysia, ship to Japan, lower cost transportation cost. Right? And of course, it depends on the economy of scale. If you produce in China and you get a lot of supply of demand, you can produce even larger. And you produce larger, the cost per unit is lower. Right? Then, of course, share of manufacturing actually represent or can imply the development status. If you have a very high share of manufacturing, maybe 70%, 80% compared to 40%, 30%. I mean, the higher share of manufacturing represent higher development, higher industrialization, indirectly also imply higher income, which indirectly again imply that higher demand for the manufacturing product. Then in this case, actually, I did positive feedback so that you encourage more people to set up factory there and give employment, hire more worker, more people migrate there. So more demand, you encourage more factory to set there. So in this case, you see it's a positive feedback.